Cool.
I think we got it.
Can everybody hear each other?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, here we are. Welcome to Fly League Origin Story.
Hell yeah.
Not a podcast yet. We're not there. So the reason we're doing this today, obviously, let's recap really quick. The reason we're doing this today is to figure out what Fly League is, or what it means to us, what do we want it to be. Obviously, we want it to just grow organically and become something that we can have fun and be part of this community in, but like, exactly what are we setting out to do? We can walk through this little middle note that we've been just building up a little bit here, and then I have a couple things that we should just chat about.
Cool.
Ideas, cool.
Let's rip.
Cool. Okay. Fly League. I'm just going to read through the thing I have here.
Yeah.
So this is on the middle note board.
I love it.
Fly League. The why. Okay? This brand is built out of 3 friends coming together weekly to spend a few hours exploring new waters and fishing. And the community that comes from that. That's what it's all about. Or maybe the community is not the right word, but you get the idea.
On board.
That
for
like
sure.
camaraderie,
Yeah.
that the thing that you're hunting is kind of those few hours, even though you're hunting smallmouth or you're hunting trout or pike or whatever. A little pikey.
Little
pikey
pikey
out there.
waters, man. You gotta watch out for those pikey waters.
Thanks, Alan. So yeah, I wrote that down as the why, but like, how does that sit? What do you guys feel? What is Fly League's why? What do you want out of it?
Yeah, man. I mean, when I think about Fly League, I think about priorities a little bit. Like for me, it's like if I want to get good at something, if I want to become better and see growth and change, I need to really commit time and commit practicing, and like repetition, going out. Like you don't know what you don't know. You got to make mistakes. You got to be surrounded with people who can give you tips, who can show what they're learning. You know what I mean? So like the longer and the more time that you can allot that per week, then the faster you're going to grow in it and the more competent you'll become, right? And so it's like for us, it's like, okay, we're going to go once a week minimum, right? We're going to aim, we're going to slot this time on all of our calendars, on all of our schedules, and we're going to go out. And the fun part of it, the adventurous part, it's like you get to combine it with, I haven't ever fished this section of the river, right? I haven't ever fished this little lake. What can we do to make that happen? What can we scavenge? What kind of rowboat can we source? Or what kind of gear do we need to go get? So for me, there's like an adventure component, and then there's like a self-growth component of really leaning into fly fishing, like just picking it up this year. It's like, this is such a perfect opportunity for me to dial in, learn stuff, and just have fun fishing,
Cool. Sorry, John, I'm going to cut really quick.
Yeah.
Remember your thought. Before we do this why, what is Fly League? Can we just someone say what exactly this is? What do we do? What do we do? Even before Fly League, what's the whole idea? Where does this come from?
Where Fly League came from?
Yeah, what is Fly League? If someone...
We fly fish.
Yeah, exactly. I need that.
Yeah, man. Once a week, we're out in the water, finding new spots, fly fishing. That's
Cool.
what we're doing. That's awesome.
That's it.
Yeah, learning, making mistakes, finding new spots, and hanging out and getting into adventurous trouble along the way.
Yeah, and we want other people to do that too.
Yeah,
The same thing.
absolutely.
Cool. All right, Johnny, what's your why?
My why is fly fishing is some salt in life. In my life, I have to work and then I have to play, and it's become an outlet. It's become something that is so necessary for me to have in my life to do the other parts of life well. Right? It's in a way, it's a cigar. It's the season. It's the seasoning in life that gives me something to look forward to and get out and escape. I like to be out on the water. It's cliche to say that it's about more than fishing, but it truly is for me. I don't care if I'm rowing or if we're stuck on a log or not catching a thing. It's about being out there and doing it. And then it just happens to be a beautiful sport that's a ton of fun to learn and challenge. And it's so depthy, yet so simple. You can really make it into something huge or be the monkey in the river with the stick. And so I like to be both.
I've seen both. All right, so real quick, how'd you guys get into fly fishing? Let's make sure everybody knows.
Yeah. You want to take this one first?
Sure, yeah.
Go
cool.
for it.
I grew up in the Twin Cities of Minnesota, about 15 miles west of the Twin Cities. So it doesn't scream trout streams. It doesn't really scream fly fishing in general. But my grandpa was pretty obsessed with golf and fly fishing. That was his two things. Well, he did a lot of stuff. He was a carpenter and he built model trains, and he just did a lot of shit. But he was the one who grew up fly fishing, and he's kind of like me. He likes to grab onto something and just run with it and get like either good at it or like execute to a point that he's happy, and then he can kind of move on. Mm-hmm. He never moved on from fly fishing. He was 80 some years old, towards the end of his life, still taking out a single man raft and floating rivers, and probably at an age where it's like my parents and my dad was probably like, I do not want you doing that. Do not float that river. Even though he wants them to get out, but like it takes effort. It takes some amount of passion and drive, I think, to actually do the thing well. He tied flies. I don't know. A lot of that came to me. I just watched him do that growing up, and he got me out on the river. My dad grew up fly fishing. I don't know. It was just a piece of me, and I let it go away for a long time because I never lived in an area that had trout streams or really, I just didn't know about the opportunities we had here to fly fish. And then, honestly, I was kind of reinvigorated in fly fishing when you guys started fishing here at work. Johnny started talking about it, and it just kind of started spreading. I said, yeah, I got a fly rod, I pulled it out and started casting in the front yard, and before you knew it, I was tying flies again and all kinds of stuff. So it's been in me for a long time, but it was dormant, but it's back.
Yeah, I remember that, and I love how fast you came back. So I'll tie that in. But for me, so we all work in production, and we were doing a piece for an organization out in Bozeman, Montana, who took veterans fly fishing like therapeutically. It was a cool situation. They all come out, they get completely outfitted, and they take them fly fishing. And I only knew of fly fishing as a style of fishing. I actually lived miles, just miles around the corner from Blue Ribbon Streams, Platte River, all that up in Woodland Park, Colorado. And I didn't fly fish a single time for the 7 years I lived there. Traditional fished in the reservoirs and stuff. And fly fishing just always seemed like the tangly version of fishing. And I didn't get it. Younger, I didn't consider getting it. I don't know why. But this trip that we took to go film these guys fly fishing, we got immersed really quickly into what the culture was, what it was all about. Just took these guys to amazing spots, next level for anybody fly fishing. These are all dream locations. And so my very first introduction to it was in that environment. And it was cool to be out there, but it just connected a lot of my past and the elements that I need in my life of nature and release and just what that means to me, combined it beyond fishing. I always fished with my pops. We'd go out and do that, and fishing was great, but it was never something that I had to do or really had a huge drive to do. You want to go fishing? Yeah, sure. We should fish while we're here. We're going camping. I'll make sure to grab a couple poles.
I get that, yeah.
We could fish, But, and these guys were, I don't want to say obsessed. It just was their life. It was their lifestyle. And so I was curious, one, like how that could be a thing. Why do you care so much about this? Is it that fun? It doesn't look, it looks fun, but is it that fun? Well, just after the entire experience, it left an impression on me about it. And I said, while on that trip, when we go back, I'm going to try this. Okay. You guys, somebody out there cares about this enough to build their life around it. I'm at least going to give it a shot. And so I came back, started watching videos. 101, just
shout out Brian Fleshing, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian Fleshing, Mad River Outfitters. They have this series of what the heck fly fishing was. I wanted to know my first stop. What's the how do I hold a pole? And got into casting and then just watching videos.
There's so many.
Yeah, but it was intriguing. And so I was talking to my dad on the phone. He was asking what's going on, and told him we went on that trip. And he said, "Well, I have an old pole. He's like, I never even used it." So he sent me like a Cabela's kit, 9'5" weight, sent it to me to mess around with, and I opened it up and strung it up, and started throwing it around in the pond in the backyard, and never looked back. Now that I think about it, I just kept learning.
Kind of feels like stars aligned there. You know what I mean? Like you had this experience. It's like pretty special to be able to go out to Montana and watch these fly fishers. Then you had a connection with your dad through fishing already. But then you're like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. Boom, there's a pole. Also, I'll just step out in my backyard and here's a pond where I can catch bluegill, I can catch smallies, I can catch whatever happens to be floating through. You know, like that's awesome. So cool.
Yeah, that was cool. But bringing it up to Bakken, I'm starting to fly, I'm getting into fly fishing. And he's like, oh, shit. Fly fish, you say? Yeah. Did you say fly fish?
You've awoken.
It awoken this whole past, and so he's throwing stuff at me and he knows, he's a couple steps ahead of us. And
I didn't catch anything yesterday, though, so.
But he had the background growing up with his pops, and he knew he just had such a cool background in it, and so it just became a connection point, and he gave us something to talk about, and so next thing you know, we're talking fishing every day and in the cracks, and we should get this rod, that rod, starting. I don't know. He saw where I was at, and it woke him where he was at, and then and then Ryan came along.
Mm-hmm.
There's me,
Sir Ryan.
Sir Ryan,
The popper.
Yeah, the popper, man. If I have to run it all the way back. There's people that want to be on this podcast that are not going to be on this podcast.
Did they
and by the
need
way,
Ryan?
it's the origin story.
Hold on a second. I didn't even hear anything. Catherine.
Hey, Cat.
Cat. On the show, Catherine Davis.
What do you need?
Do you need me right now? Can I wait 30 minutes? Oh, okay. All right, we'll talk soon. Okay. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna bring that back. So, and then we were talking fly fishing, and then came Ryan.
And then came me. Yeah. So I'm just a kid. I'm just kidding.
Life is a nightmare.
And life is a nightmare. Basically, the only like influence or touch or footprint I had like on me from fishing was just watching people bait fish and just go out there and drink a beer and put the line in the water and sit.
Fish.
And that's never really been kind of my speed. I'm very fast paced, aggressive. I love things that get me moving and spark that adventure.
More of a Four Loco guy.
More of a Four Loco guy. You know what I mean?
Multi Four Loco.
Yeah, if I'm gonna be a drink, I'm gonna be a blue raspberry Four Loco or a twisted tea. But anyway, it's like seeing that, I was never drawn to it, never really called by it or anything like that. Went out to Oregon for a few years, continued to grow my love for adventure and for hiking and climbing and goofing off and all that stuff. Came back to Michigan to work with these guys, see them all the time. Obviously, these are great dudes. You'll get to know over time. These are some of the highest tier quality of guys you're going to meet.
Who?
And so,
Who?
Say my name. Say my name. And so it's just like these guys will start talking about fly fishing, and I kind of get to hear a little bit of, it's not just going and completely mindless activity that you're just killing time. You're hunting. You go out and you have a goal and you prep your gear for that goal, and then you're actively wading or you're rowing down and floating a river, and you're like looking for pockets, and you get to know kind of the knowledge of how different environments play with different species of fish, and it just all starts to become much more of a game or a hunt rather than just something to crush time. And so these guys were talking about it, and I was like, man, I don't know, I just got to give it a shot, I think, and so I start to kind of just listen to their conversations. Even they're just like talking about this rod and this reel, and I don't know the vocabulary, the vernacular or whatever, but I'm just listening to them and just being like, okay, this is a really deep thing. And another thing about me is when I find a hobby, like I have to nosedive into it. Like I have to learn how to be very good at it very quickly. Otherwise I'm unsatisfied. And I don't usually get to a point with things where I like hit it and quit it. But I just want to get deeper and deeper into those activities or those hobbies or those games or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I'm soaking up information. I start watching the same Mad River Outfitters videos that Johnny started with. Start going through the series. You've never hold a fly rod. Start here, video 1, watch through video 12, whatever it is. And then eventually I got to the end of that series, and I was like, man, I want to commit. I want to go buy something. That's like the biggest step, when you have to like actually go and find the equipment for the first time. Oh, yeah. At least it was for me, right? So I was like, I know Johnny's got a pond at his place. Maybe he'll come let me just fish the pond.
Oh, yeah.
And I could just try it out, right? And then if I like it and I catch the wave for it, then I'll commit. And so Johnny had me out. We caught some fish. I got to learn how to actually throw a rod, and that was awesome. And then from there, it was like, all right, I bought a Wrangler Reddington kit. I'm gonna be able to go out on the water and just whatever it takes to just be able to join. And then we started kind of getting to the point where it was like, well, let's do this. Let's do this often rather than just trying to align schedules. Let's put a slot of time on everyone's calendar to really lock in. It's like, well, like this is a thing, it's Fly League. It's
Fish league first.
It's fish league first. And then we're like, oh, let's make it Fly League. Let's lock it in. Let's define it a bit more. And so then it's like, okay, well, what do we want Fly League to be? Like, it's great for us to have this, but then it's also like, is this something that could grow? Is this something that other people would be interested in? Do people want to like have some sort of encouragement to go and like lock in that time with their friends, with their community, and be able to get better at the sport? So all of that kind of history has kind of provoked this of just exploratory conversation to see what we want to do and what could be fun.
Right.
Yeah, because it became valuable really quickly. We haven't been doing this that long, but I think right off the bat, I mean, at first, what you're saying, it was let's set it, let's be intentional about it. Let's go. We all want to fish. Let's because if you don't set that, you're not going to get out there.
Right.
Right. And so, but then, what was I just saying? It sounded really good. It became valuable. Quickly that time doing it to the point of, maintaining other responsibilities, even, priorities it still has to fit where it fits in your life. But it became important to us. It became important to me. And I think that aspect, you go like, if this is something that's important to us, it's going to be important to somebody else. And this is just a beautiful sport. Let's go.
Right. Yeah.
Totally.
And like what you were talking about with encouragement, something I think is cool about like what it did with us is it opened this pocket of a sport that we're all kind of new to in different ways. Like not super new to it, but kind of like reawoken was, very new to it.
Yeah.
Still very new to it. Right. So, but what I love about this is that we live in Michigan. Like we live in Southwest Michigan.
Oh yeah.
Fly fishing heaven. Right.
Which I was completely unaware of.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like we live in like a hilarious spot, I think, to fly fish for the most part.
We do.
But then all of a sudden, like you float the Kalamazoo River once, and you look at your area in a whole different way. And now we just want to hunt smallies all day. But like most people that want to get into fly fishing, they probably don't even know that's a thing. You go out west, you spend money and fly out west, and you fish Montana for browns and whatever. You try to find native brook trout or whatever up in the mountains. Like that's what you think of. That's what you have to go do. I got to spend so much money on gear. I got to get plane tickets and, fly in a water plane and land out remote Alaska to fly fish. But like, it's available everywhere. You can fish. It's just another way to throw food to fish.
Yeah.
Totally.
Really.
Totally. If there's fish, you can fly it.
Yeah. What I mean? And it's honestly so much more fun that way.
Totally.
And then you get a few people involved and all of a sudden you have your own little fly league and it's just amazing like where it can go from there. So I just think it's cool. And now we're exploring Michigan. Like I see Michigan in a totally different way.
Absolutely.
We'll be up on the Pure Marquette in not even a month or about a month hunting king salmon. Like that's going to be wild.
Heck yeah.
And it's just something I'd never even considered. And now I'm learning things about the Pure Marquette River that I would have never known or even known about Michigan and how special the place is. Like people fly here from all over the world to hunt these kings. It's just a crazy thing. It keeps going and going. So, hey,
100%.
I want to move on to this next card.
Yeah, sure.
Just so we kind of keep moving, but I love everything we're doing. So.
Yeah, no, that's good. That locality statement. That was awesome.
Back to Fly League, these little like pillar cards, right? So we just did the why. The next one was the intent. I don't know what everyone's intent is now. It's like, okay, we've kind of fleshed it out. We know what grounds us. But like, what do we want to do with it? And what I wrote down was to open another passageway to the sport of fly fishing with the focus on accessibility to equipment and sharing more time together in the water. Like, I think this is a question mark still. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, I wrote that down. We were like, okay, let's make her real, which we'll talk about in a little while. I don't want to get into that right now. But it was more like we spent, I don't know, 6 hours a day researching fly fishing equipment. It gets really tiring. Yep. And it beats you up and it kind of like plays up in your brain. I think we all have similar brains where you can easily like destroy yourself with this sport too.
Yep.
And you could also spend $30,000 you know?
Totally.
So
It's powerful.
I was really curious about like, how do we make this sport accessible so that people can have what we have? Kind of. And I still want to do that. So, but that's where this intent came from. I guess is what I'm getting at. But
I don't even have what they get to get. Right. Oh, with Fly League. I was thinking gear. I was like, I don't have any.
no. And so that's why, honestly, and
They don't get to have what I have because I don't have it.
right. I guess, and I can move on to a different card too, but I'm curious if you guys have an intent you want to speak to really quick.
Sure.
Like, what do you want to do with Fly League? Like, are you happy if it's just us fishing every week, which I am, you know, but, or is it something like we need to bring something because it's not available? Or do we just need to encourage, like we just need to be out there and people need to see us so they go like, okay, I have friends that fish. Let's do this and just grow this whole thing. Like I want Fly Leagues all over the country.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want to know about them. I want to do meetups and have people meet each other that are from different Fly Leagues. Like that's exactly what I want.
That's awesome, dude.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't have the entire vision on what I want it to become, but I do know that organically I want this to feed something. I want it to be as a result of what we're doing and capturing what we're doing pretty organically and the approach we have, the places we go, our mindsets, and just who we are. I want to give those things a place to live under the umbrella of Fly League, and whether that's YouTube contents or films that we get into, products we develop. The fruit of what we do, I think, can go forth to create all kinds of things that then in turn give back to us in fly fishing and supports this lifestyle even further. It gives it meaning. It gives it something to give back to the world, and hopefully it becomes something that other people do as well and is exciting for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think that it's really cool. We're in like such a cool spot for this.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've created as a team like this just like system that works with our lives, that works with what we want to do, like personally with fly fishing, and it's a treasure, right? Like it's something that we all value. And it's like when you have that, like you can't help but try to think like, what could this be for like other people too? Because there's even been like a couple of times already where it's like, we know of some other people who are interested in fly fishing, but we got a 3-person rowboat. And like that's what we got. Like we could take like 6-10 guys out on like a wading, like wet wade, but like realistically, like to have those small groups of Fly League, it's like the people that you can really be consistent with and intentional with. It's like that's when you're really gonna have what this experience is. And when it gets bigger than that, then it's like, oh, like this could be more Fly Leagues. You know what I mean? Like, and not to say that it's like supposed to be exclusive or anything like that, but just I think one of the points of accessibility is like not only is there likely water around you that you can fish no matter where you're living, but then also like it's more accessible when it's a tighter crew. You know what I mean? Like you can just get things done faster with fewer people.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to turn into like a slug or anything like that. So I think for me, when I think about what Fly League could be, it's like, well, I naturally want other people to experience a similar thing to what we have going on, because I haven't really seen that getting into fly fishing. Like Matt said, like I'm real new to this. This is something I'm like pretty still scrapping towards to pick up knowledge and to pick up like locations that we could go and like all of that information, stuff like that. And I want to encourage other people when they're getting into the sport, just an easier gate. You know what I mean? Like, and like there's resources of like, hey, you could buy this or you could buy that, but it's like when you're with friends and you're fishing with friends, that's got to be such a different experience than watching a few YouTube videos and then going hitting the water by yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think Fly League, at least right now, it's in a really exploratory phase of like, this is what we've got. What can we help other people with, or what are we interested in trying to build or anything like that? And so like, I think this like podcast style conversation, like trying to film possibly like our trip up north, like having those kind of conversations. It's like, if we can create things to show what this is, then maybe it would become more self-defined of what it should be.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
That's the goal.
Yeah, those things will present themselves. I think taking people, I want to take the world along with us.
Yeah.
I want to do Fly League with us because I cherish what we have. But then we'll take them with us.
Yeah.
Here's what we do. Here's the place we go.
For sure.
I want to show these adventures. I want to show us in the grass. I want to show us up to our neck trying to hop over logs and just everything.
Right.
Yeah, like literally yesterday, rowing down the Kalamazoo River.
Yeah, that was so sick.
I'm trying to put my phone onto our Bluetooth speaker on the boat, and then I look behind me and I see there's just a series of logs, and there's no way that I'm gonna row around them. And we're like, buckle up, guys. We're gonna hit these logs, and we hit it just perfectly to wedge ourselves and ramp up onto like these 4 giant logs. And so it's like, now we got to push off of it. And like those moments, it's like in the moment, you're like, dang it, I'm not fishing. But like when you stop and you think back on it, you're like, that's such a part of it.
Yeah.
That's such like a big influence of part of it. Just learning how to actually do the activity. And it just makes for fun, like cool stories to look back on.
Right.
And to capture that, to be able to share that with people. It's
Right.
special.
All that extra stuff is super special. Sorry, Matt. We're back and forth. We haven't been on a fly league yet. That there hasn't been a situation that's made me chuckle. It just
Totally.
fall in love with. If you just stop for a moment and look at what the heck you're doing,
Yeah.
for better or worse, that's been hilarious and adventurous. So
There's no chance at missing those moments.
right,
And actually, like one of the pillars I have is the moment. Like the you were talking about, like bringing the experience to other people, bringing the world along with. Like the way I'm looking at it is like I want to create that moment for everyone else. I want to like what's the thing I'm trying to make sure everybody has. They go to Fly League and they go home. You know, you fish for 3 hours, do a 3-hour float with your buddies. Like you're gonna go home and have this moment. That's what I want out of this. It's like, what is that though? You know. And I wrote down a couple things here I wanted to walk through, but like something from yesterday was, you know, like so Johnny hooked the first smallie yesterday, missed it right away, threw it right back in, got him again. Right? Isn't this how it went?
Yep.
Got it up to the boat, we lost it, but it was a good size smallie. You know, I don't know what it was, 15, 16, something good.
yeah, 23, 24.
Yeah, sure. We'll talk about Ryan's fish in a second.
Just a tank.
and then you know we were all happy and stuff and kept fishing, and then I don't know, you swap poles with Ryan and it was probably, I don't know,
Swap seats.
it swap seats. Yeah, it was
yeah.
Ryan's rod, but swap seats and got Ryan. He was rowing and got Ryan fishing, and first cast dropped in the bank and Ryan pulls in like a 20-inch smallie, just a monster. He's big. That was a big fish.
Yeah, dude, biggest fish I've ever caught in my life. Might ever catch for a long time. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And I think I remember that thinking about this moment because like every one of us was celebrating that fish. Like it was, you know, it's like even if you're rowing the boat, that feels good.
Yeah.
Totally.
When you're fishing the way we do.
Feels like an assist, man.
And I think it does when you're throwing bobbers and stuff with your buddies too. But for some reason, like you talked about that hunt, like that's there. You're out. It's like you're completely in that moment. It's the only thing you think about. And maybe that's what I'm trying to like in my head create for other people. It's like I was so stoked that 20-inch fish came to our boat, even though it wasn't on my pole, you know. And I think that's, I don't know, maybe that's like that without everything in fishing, but to me it feels different with Fly League. So you celebrate other people's wins and you celebrate, I don't know, the thing that you have. So
Because everything you've put your heart into at this point is happening. You know, all of the research, the thoughts at night, the poles, the reel, your line, like your technique, the boat, just being out there, the time away, everything, you know, the everything in place is now coming to fruition. You've caught a fish, you know, you've achieved it. And so there's so much there. Yeah. Whether it's your fish or somebody else's fish, like your fish validated every fish we lost, you know?
Totally.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And you're right. It's a group win. It's a special thing. Which, if you just look at the definition, I caught a fish on a string with a stick. Like, who doesn't sound like much, but
So simple,
It's
yeah.
so special.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially that one, that topwater eat.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
popper eat.
Yeah, dude. And they just munch it, just disappear. You get to watch the whole action.
Yeah.
And it was killer because like we were watching risers all day. You know what I mean? Like we knew they were out there. We knew. So we're like, and that's another part of the team effort. It's like calling out rises, calling out colors. You know, hey, I got a bite on white, or I got a bite on chartreuse for some reason or whatever. That's what I caught on. Is just a giant chartreuse popper, like just this ridiculous looking.
good
And
shit.
they're like, hey, that's me. That's my feed. And then just, you know, before you know it, you have a fish in the boat. It's pretty killer.
Sweet. Since we're in it, let's do this quick. So we can talk about that moment a little bit more, but like let's just talk about yesterday on the water.
Yeah, dude.
Just real quick.
Sure.
Tell people about floating the Kalamazoo, what it's like.
It's pikey, dude.
It's pretty,
So pikey.
pretty so pikey in there.
we were about to drop in. And we met this awesome guy named Alan. He's a guide in Kalamazoo. You can tell this dude, it's not his first day. You know what I mean? Like,
Pause. This is so funny. If we get to know Alan more and he becomes more of a character in our life, but like right now,
We met
Alan, we
Alan.
don't know you
yeah,
at all.
totally. Yeah.
Anyway, keep going. So we meet Alan.
Let's just talk about him like we know.
At like 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
Alan.
we meet our best friend Alan. We're dropping our boat in. He's gonna actually do a guided float, and so he comes up to us, asks us what we're throwing. You know what I mean? Asks us what kind of leader and tippet we're messing with, and then he makes some suggestions.
2x.
Yeah,
Alan.
we're like
2X.
we're going for bass, so 2x, I guess, so like 10-pound. You know, hopefully that works. And he's like, no, like here's some 20-pound. He like gives it to us.
Give him his wire.
Yeah, he gave us a wire leaders because he's like, that's the whole pikey joke is like, oh man, this Kalamazoo River, like this section of it is just so pikey.
So pikey.
But like we're throwing streamers, caught nothing, like, you know, no bite for anything. But like obviously that's part of fishing too, right? Like you can have a defined section of a river, and you might go out and hunt for your thing, and you might miss. You know what I mean? Like that's how it goes.
part of it.
That's part of it for sure. If it was a given, then there'd be no thrill.
Right.
But anyway, so he hooked us up with some wire, with some stronger leaders, and just this awesome dude. But he kind of kickstarted our day, just giving us a good chuckle of like, man, we are all kind of just out here, just trying to make it work. You know what I mean? And then there's people we have so much to learn from, and there's just a whole nother world of depth to this that we're all pretty excited by, but we also have jobs. So
Right.
Kalamazoo River. So, what you were saying about how fly fishing, if you approach it like we are, hitting kind of trying to explore different areas, different spots every time if possible. I mean, we've doubled up because it's been so fun.
Oh, we'll double up.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But you're still constantly looking around to explore just locally. What do you have at your fingertips? And we have the Kalamazoo River, which when I first moved here was not a good thing.
Don't touch the Kalamazoo River.
You don't
man,
do it. It's
toxic,
a dirty
bro.
little river.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's toxic. It's the smell in the air, which wasn't true, but
Right.
it's just known as one of those city rivers that you don't. Yeah, I
mess
seriously
with
thought.
it.
Yeah, I thought there would be like dead people just floating around in it. The way people spoke of it,
Haven't found one yet.
you know. Yeah,
Yeah, they
And
might be
so-
out there.
Thank God.
But turns out, okay, and I'm sure there's stretches that are like flat downtown. Okay, maybe it hasn't attracted, hasn't held the pristine beauty that a river would normally have. But when you ride that river and you go out into it and it opens up and you forget
It's gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
I'm hundreds of miles away. Is
There's nobody within 100 miles of me is what
Yeah.
it feels like sometimes. It's
Totally.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
beautiful birds. There's bucks crossing. There's other wildlife, and then it's just it's a great river of fly fishing fun. The different holes and the different sections of it require different techniques, and some of it's we can stop and wade. It's such a I have such a different perspective of that river now that
Yeah.
we've been floating on. I can't wait to take my daughter out on it and like just show them what's here. Like I think so many people would just be awestruck if they realized just how beautiful that river was.
Right.
In that capacity, when you really go out and commit to it.
And there's so many more rivers like that where everybody lives,
Yeah.
Like you're probably close enough to one that's just like that, and you're going to have that exact same experience if you've never been on it. Because it's an adventure. Like there's many times where you're going to have to get out of the boat and drag it over something or figure out how to get downriver. You can scout. I'm thankful for Google Maps or whatever.
Yeah,
we knew
man.
that dam was there yesterday.
Totally, yeah.
Stuff like that. But
That was
Yeah,
our first,
do your
first portage,
research.
baby.
yeah,
Look at where you're going. For goodness
seriously,
sake.
it's amazing what you'll get yourself into, good and bad, But it's all part of the experience, and we're still alive to tell the tales. And
Yeah.
we've hooked a few fish. We're hoping to get better at it. That's for sure. But yeah, man,
That's the journey.
yeah, right on. Cool. Let's talk about. I'm gonna talk about a rowboat,
Okay. Dolly.
Dolly.
Dolly,
So,
the rowboat.
I want to talk about Dolly because we are three guys. Granted, one of these guys is 300 pounds and 6'6".
Oh, dude. Oh, okay.
No, here. But I'm going to talk about Dolly because we are three guys that do fish out of an old rowboat
Yeah.
that is not rigged for fly fishing.
No, it
Like,
is not.
I feel like our humbled roots of Dolly in this fly league thing is the perfect grounding boat to get us how do I say this? You got to really want to float down a river to do it the way we do it.
Heck yeah.
Like I think a lot of people would be like, that doesn't look like that enjoyable to me.
Yeah.
But dude, that boat opened up the world of possibilities. Like we get to
Totally.
go fish wherever the hell we want. We're taking that up north, Pure Marquette, which it's the truth, you know. Like
Let's see how that goes.
we're not going to be sitting in a drift boat running down with guides, but like we're doing our research and we're getting out there and fishing, and I think we're going to be totally fine. I think we're going to pull in some kings, you know. So I want to talk about the boat, see how people feel about it, encourage people to like
Yeah.
use what you have, find what you have, spend $200 on an old, you know, flat bottom John and go. Hey, ask your grandpa if you can borrow the little rowboat he's got sitting outside, or like go to your neighbor, whatever. They're everywhere, man. I see them everywhere. $100 can get you a boat that'll float.
Absolutely. Yes.
Don't kill yourself, but like, you know,
Make sure it's seaworthy,
yeah,
river-worthy, water-worthy.
just go. Because like we're starting to look like, I wouldn't say pros in a rowboat, but we're not bad. You know, we can float now.
No,
Like,
we
I don't-
figured it out.
We
yeah.
can hit some gaps.
We
every once in a
hit
while.
some stuff sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, true. Yeah, that too.
You get a little buggy going through trees and stuff, but like, I don't know. I think it's a cool thing. I think Dolly's going to be a little staple in our process. I mean, hopefully we get something better eventually, but
Hey,
love to her.
she'll root us in the beginnings, though.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Man, Dolly's what kicked us off.
We'll put her on the wall one day or something.
yeah, dude, in the shop.
That'd
I love it.
be cool.
Yeah, let's just tell me how you feel about Dolly though.
Oh man, I'm somebody that just loves to. I'll take the bare minimum thing that'll get the job done. You know, in life in general. Like, what
Right.
do I need to accomplish this? We started Fly League. Was our first trip the time we went just wading around in the muck?
I think our first technical trip was in Paw Paw without the boat.
Yeah.
Which the boat would have done shit that day.
Yeah, sure. But we went into this river and found out quickly. It's knee high muck, and we were back in the bugs, and we really
Leeches for days.
we fought, you know, that. But it was such an adventure. I loved it. I wouldn't trade it. But
fun.
it did open just the concept of like, we're gonna need a boat one day.
Right.
I'm out on the family's farm just on a Sunday, and we go to leave, and over in the grass grown up all around it is a rowboat, a flat bottom. I don't know if it's a modified, but it's basically a flat bottom rowboat. I think 12 foot, 14 foot, maybe
12
foot rowboat, just sitting in the grass. I went over there. I've got my pickup truck and said, well, this will do, you know? So tried to pick it up, and it was, I thought it was heavy at first. And so I got my wife out to see if she couldn't help me do it, but it had just been sitting there so long, the ground had eaten it. And
Anchored it.
Yep, dug it out, lifted it up. It was full of mice and ant hill. It was an ant hill, just a huge ant hill, you know, that had been built up underneath it, just serving ecological purposes for the past
Right.
5 years, probably.
Been a great home.
Yeah, just sitting there. And so we threw it in the back of the truck, you know, and that was all she wrote. I took her home, emptied out all the nests and everything, gave it a look over. Had to kind of patch up a couple spots, fix the transom. It was nothing more than a wrench, you know, just tighten the bolts. They said the plug was missing, and when I was cleaning out the mice, it fell out from under the seat. And there's the plug, you know. And so we gave it a shot. I mean, we just went on pure faith. I think
We did the first week,
we just-
fully faith.
Yeah.
we just- I made sure it float. I put it in the pond. Okay, like no leaks, no nothing. All right, so we stuck it in the Kalamazoo River.
Sure.
Went underneath 131.
Yeah. It's like a 6 mile float that
Yeah.
first day.
Rowing our way right into trees and rocks and stuff.
That's awesome.
That's a shallow stretch too. Yeah, that was
Oh, yeah,
fun.
we were scraping bottom and just finding everything, but she held up, and it I love it. You know, we found out a way to make it work, and she's what we have right now.
Yeah, boats
You
is
know?
one of those things that's not accessible, like for a lot of people, right? It makes
Yeah.
you scared to get into something because it's like, well, I got to spend $5,000 on a boat if I want to actually like fish hard.
For
right?
sure.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to fish from the shore all the time. It's like honestly, like put some old sneakers on and walk out in the water, and
Yeah.
they'll change your life too. But
Yeah, that's my waiting boots.
the next step is Dolly, or the next step is whatever Dolly is to you. You know, and
Yeah.
it might be nicer than Dolly. It might be.
Yeah, we lucked out with the family connection. Even
Right.
even my father-in-law, after 5 years or so, writes on our family thread, "Who stole my boat?" He's not going to use that boat, but yeah. So we still have it on loan. You know, appreciate it. Yeah, we spent $50 to get a pair of oars. That's all we needed.
Yep.
You know, and we'll upgrade from there. We're going to do the best with the tools we have, and new tools hopefully will be afforded to us.
Yeah.
And I think just like more context for this boat, like we do not treat it lightly. You know, like we're still learning how to navigate these different sections of these different rivers and whatever, and we're hitting trees and doing all that. We even took it out, and right before a storm came in, we found like just this little lake, and we put that thing in that lake, and if you just sat there, you'd just get blown to the side of the lake. There's no way you could just stay out there and just fish a line. And so we just have one person row and kind of find the shelf, and just have the other person just tossing that shelf, and you were rowing just to stay in place, just fighting it.
He was probably 18-inch swells eating us alive.
Yeah, just absolutely crashing into Dolly, and Dolly held up totally fine. Yeah. We caught, I think, like 8 fish that day.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of largemouth, had a bunch of fun, and then brought it back in. And it's like, that's another day with Dolly. You know what I mean?
Another day with Dolly.
We just throw her in the back of the pickup. I love it. She's there right now. We're not even going to fish today. I have a rowboat sticking, 4 feet out the back of my truck as we speak.
I'm going to put a Dolly patch on a hat. We gotta represent Dolly somehow.
Yeah.
It's a rowboat nation.
No, definitely.
Well, hopefully it'll be drift boat nation someday, but we'll get there.
We love you, Dolly, but
yeah, stealth craft if you're watching.
Right on. Yeah, I guess the point, I guess there is just like just get out and fish with what you have, right?
For sure.
It's kind of the whole idea of this thing is, none of us have super nice shit in general. I mean, we're starting to acquire some nicer stuff for sure. I appreciate my grandpa leaving me that rod,
Absolutely.
You got your streamer axe. Like, there's some cool stuff coming, but for the most part, it's like, how can we do this as cheap as possible?
Yeah. We're
so that we can
scrappy,
continue
baby.
to do it and not be afraid to do it because we don't have what we need, so.
Yeah,
Totally.
holding my face, looking at prices, rolling stuff. Just that's not going to happen. And then finding something on eBay,
Right.
A guy opens up with a $50 rod.
Yeah.
For Reddington Path for $50.
Yeah.
Whatever size you want.
If those are still out there, you should get one of those.
Became very
that 3-weight,
accessible
that'll
quick.
change your life.
About a 3, a 4, and an 8.
Yep. Yeah, dude. And still cheaper than most rods.
Yeah. Well,
So.
it's separate times, not all at once. But
Sweet. Let's talk about Kings Week. What's Kings Week?
Kings Week, heading up north, Pere Marquette, hunting salmon. It'll be our first time like going for more than just like a little day trip locally. I mean, Pere Marquette's technically still local, but we're gonna make a trip out of it. Multiple days. I think we're trying to fish for like 2.5, 3 days.
Yeah. 4 full days.
4 full days.
Yeah. 3 nights.
It's gonna be killer. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things that it's like, this is a resource that's accessible to us. Let's take the time to all go together. We've never fished salmon, especially not on a fly rod.
Just migratory fish. It's gonna be wild.
Yeah, dude. It's so cool. So for me on that trip, if you hook a salmon, like, obviously that's great, but just the fact that we're going on a different hunt, hunting something else, learning kind of what do you throw for salmon, what do you do here, what do you do there, and then turning that into like a camping experience too. Like, that's just going to be too fun. You know what I mean?
Right.
yeah, one thing that I really appreciate about Bakken is he really spearheads off like, what we should do, kind of stuff. And he's like,
Do I talk like that?
what? No, I don't know. This is
Nah.
it's a
You know what we should do.
no. It's like a
You should start though.
No, dude.
that's the exaggerated view. Anytime I talk, if I'm going to do a Ryan, everything does it like this.
It's really
kidding.
close.
Yeah.
That's really close.
No, anyway, so Bakken's like, what we should do, and he's like, the salmon up there. And I think that's coupled with, you had said something along the lines, like, this is something you always wanted to do anyway. Like, I've always wanted to go.
Always, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always.
So we pointed out that there's this salmon run, and I'll be damned if you look that up. Sure as shit, there is all kinds of salmon in Michigan.
2 hours away.
That
One of the biggest salmon migrations in the country.
yeah,
It's gnarly.
King salmon. It's crazy.
you'd be crazy not to go check that out. So with the conception of Fly League now in swing, it just seemed like such an awesome move to take us up there. So we're doing our best to get ready for it. I know we're still shy on some check marks of preparedness, but we got the bones.
Oh, they're coming together.
Yeah, we're going. So
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to, I don't know, do something a little different with Fly League. We're gonna, we connect with our local fly shop pretty regularly, right? But like being able to, we're gonna be connecting with Baldwin Bait and Tackle and just meeting more people, and it's gonna be a busy time on the river. So I just think we're gonna have a lot of camaraderie. Even the campsite we're camping in, most of the photos on the web page I booked is like fishing boats. And
Totally,
you can
yeah.
tell they're flat bottom. They're like, there's people that are out on the water, like they're there for this, right? So I think it's going to be everywhere. It's just going to be a different kind of hunt, something we've never done. And God, I hope we hook some fish. I can't wait till that first person pulls in that first king.
It's gonna be great.
You know, and I sure as hell hope it's on 7 weight. And I hope we get it in.
Yeah. Fight it for 20 minutes and then snap your line.
Right. And which that could happen, you know. So, but yeah. Like I said, we're going up to Pere Marquette. We're camping for 4 days. We're gonna have some good meals, some good days on the water. We're gonna learn a lot.
I'm hoping we can eat one.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
There's a huge question of this zombie salmon.
zombies.
Am I going to catch a salmon? Am I going to find a nice silver, something that's been darked up?
Right.
Or am I going to pull
a decomposed body of bones.
falling apart like baby back ribs at Applebee's? We'll see.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, king salmon are migratory fish that go to big water and live there for a few years, and then they come back into the tributaries and rivers where they were born to spawn, to have more salmon babies. And then once the males are done doing that, they die. Like they're done. So a lot of these fish will swim in this water and become, literally decompose. Their skin will be falling off until they become food for steelhead for the next 3 months, you know?
Yeah, it's totally biological. It's not like they're just spawning and giving up. Like their stomachs are like eating themselves alive. You know what I mean?
Right. And I actually think their stomach does go away in that process, but I'm not going to put that in this podcast because I don't really know. But I heard that.
I believe you.
But
you heard it.
But
You
they
figured it out. We don't
turn
know.
this.
We don't know.
This
That's part of
corner.
it.
They turn this corner and they become focused on one thing. And like this style of fishing, the bite is so crazy. Is what people say. It's like these salmon hit so hard because all they're doing is hitting out of aggression.
Totally.
Like it's an egg. That's not my egg. What the hell is that? Like that's what they're doing.
Totally.
And they're just head shakers, divers. Like they just go nuts. Like going into the backing. I just cannot wait to see what kind of action we get into.
It's going to be awesome.
So, Kings Week.
Kings Week.
And we'll be taking Fly League along with us.
Yeah.
The whole deal.
Let's go.
Cool.
Sorry.
Real quick.
I don't know what that was.
Let's talk about, it's 1:53. I think we're good for just a little bit longer, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We should wrap up in like 10 maybe.
We haven't done a full hour yet, have we? We're 10 more minutes to an hour?
Yeah, we've been rolling for 48 minutes.
Okay, let's go to an hour.
Yeah, cool.
Exact.
Great.
Cool. All right, I want to talk about 3 more things. So we got to keep them kind of tight. But the first thing I want to talk about, let's talk about our fly reel.
Okay.
It's not in existence yet, but I just want to talk about.
This fly reel.
Yeah, I want to talk about what we've been doing. Why did we make that thing? Or what are we starting? It's not done, obviously.
Yeah, so we decided at some point in the process of researching reels. Where do I want to start this? Let me just say this. We're designing a fly reel because we want to make a fly reel and fish this fly reel and make that fly reel available to everyone.
Right.
Fly reels are glorified line holders. Okay, now don't beat me up if this is... I know that there's, you get into applications. I know that there's seal drags. I know that there's saltwater situations where you really need that drag. I know that
even the salmon, right?
Yeah. Big. There's a lot of applications for a good drag, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have a good drag, but I'm not saying anything. First of all, let me just back that up. Research has shown that a reel is over-designed. It's more real than you usually need in a situation, and it costs a lot of money that I don't have. So looking at them, we decided that maybe we could do this ourselves. Maybe that's a crazy thought, but somebody's making reels, and I think I'm kind of butchering this, but
That's okay.
Yeah, we wanted to make a reel that would land in a price point that was a good reel. All right, not just
good reel,
not just a bullshit reel. Okay, like a viable reel that would fall in a price point that you'd be happy with.
Yeah,
it needs to hold your line and function well
and be beautiful.
And be beautiful.
Things you love about reels. Why do people buy reels? It's the only metal aesthetic thing on a fly rod. Like you could pick the color of your pole, I guess. Like you get a Winston and it's green and it's awesome, right? That's my plug.
Yeah.
But like when you get into fishing, the first thing you want is a reel.
Yeah.
You see this and you're like, oh God, like you see the way the colors come through.
The sound it makes.
You start getting those gallop sinking lines and it's like 3 different colors to your backing. Like there's a thing there.
There's an aesthetic, yeah. It's
silly, and it is, but like from a guy who loves aesthetic things, like that means a lot to me.
Totally.
And I hate that I don't have one that I can buy that I think looks nice and feels nice, and I'm proud to fish. Like that's not dogging anyone else. It's just not my style.
Yeah.
It's not my thing. So not driving this with the aesthetics, but there's a piece, like I want you to feel so good about fishing the reel. Like I want you to feel like you're not going to lose a fish on it. I want you to feel that you don't look like something you don't want to be. I'm not trying to put anyone down with anything. I just like, there's a classic aesthetic to fly fishing that I appreciate, respect, want to support. And I want people to be able to have that for a reasonable asking.
Absolutely.
And if you have more money to go buy the big stuff, like people need to do that because those companies do a lot of good for the industry. And like they're great pieces of equipment that have been there for forever. You know, like Hardy, like original stuff. God, I'd love to have one of those.
Sure.
Someday I'm going to have one.
Absolutely.
But I also want to have those.
Yeah.
And I want to fish that, you know? And I want my friends to fish that and my kids to fish that. And I want it to be the one that, yeah, you know, you're not buying just because, the price point works. Like, I want you to be like, the price point's good and this is badass.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right?
you can introduce
Precisely.
someone with this. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You'd be like, hey, you should fly fish. You should check this out. Check out this reel.
Yeah, I want like casting schools to line these up and get people on a cool reel that is like actually affordable. Like, oh, come to a class and buy this kit and you're going to be ready to fish and you can actually get it done.
Totally.
You know, even offering extra spools, like make it accessible to do the things that the big ones do. You know, that Lamson kit is the closest thing to it probably.
Yep.
You know, but that's not a fully machined, it's a cast product. So
Yep.
maybe going to the next step of making it a little bit more modernized. It's right there, man.
Sure.
And who knows if it'll be successful, but they're coming.
Yeah, we'll sure as heck try.
Yep.
Something that's exciting about it also is I want someone to go out there and spend money elsewhere.
Yeah, right.
I
It's
want
the least
this to-
important thing.
Yeah. Let it be there. Let it be awesome. Let it kick ass. It's gonna be cool shit. It's gonna be great reel. All right. But don't spend all your money here. Go spend it on a rod and a boat and food.
Your line.
You know, yeah, get a good line. And it's an expensive sport.
Can
Can be. And so there's better places for your money than a reel, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But you need the thing, and you might as well love it. But let's not break you on it.
Yeah. Spend it on the weekly beer run or spend it on a trip up north with your friends or, you know, like it's there for sure. So, yeah, I think the whole design, we're basing this around, like right now, this is the sweet spot, right? Like, I don't know if that's what we're going to call that reel, obviously, but what I'm hunting with that is that sweet spot. And if we bring anything to anybody, like a fly reel or Fly League has something on the website you can purchase, like I don't know what this can turn into, but if it did, I want it to have that exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like this is a sweet spot for value, aesthetic, cost, accessibility. Like I want it to be everywhere.
Yeah.
And I want it to be so cool that you kind of have to have one. Even if you own the cool stuff and the nice stuff, you're probably going to want one of these. And I'm calling that right now. Do you know what I mean?
It's a good call.
I want it right now.
Yeah. And we don't have to get too far into design or anything, but we do. We're
That's
working
still a
through some
secret.
stuff.
That's a secret.
Cool. Ryan, do you have anything to say or you move?
No, dude, just excited because it's one of those things. It's like it speaks back to like where Fly League's at right now. It's in such an exploratory space. It's like, dude, what do we wish that we had that was more accessible? I was like, cool reels. It's like, all right, well, let's look into it. Let's check it out. I think if anything, it shows like a lot of the spirit of where we're at and where we're headed. And so like, yeah, it's just exciting.
Love it. Let's, sorry.
So one more thing about it. Sorry. Just on this King's trip we're about to take, the part of this trip that I don't have locked down yet is a reel for my 7. And so I'm shopping reels every night. Like I'm in bed, I'm laying one hand off of the bed, flipping through reels, just trying to find a reel that I want for an affordable price where I can actually get it. So I'm looking at the used areas, or I'm trying to then justify a cheaper one, that maybe has questionable integrity because it's a strange name and brand that I don't know. And so I'm trying to find all the reviews possible. If I can try to get away with, dropping $50 and getting this done, is that going to work or not? And so I just don't want anybody else to have to go through that.
Exactly. Take that away from the sport. And it's not that people shouldn't have to go through trial and tribulation, but like do it on the water. Do it trying to find the fish you want.
Learning to cast.
Yeah,
You
like
know?
do it in an active. Like I want to narrow that. That it's such a broad. Like you need to have so many things to fly fish. What, you don't have one of those? Like
Yeah.
you can't go.
Totally.
No one's gonna tell you that. Like in the sport, it's pretty open. People want you to do this now, but I think there's an image around the sport that you have to be old, and you have to have money to fly fish.
Totally.
I just think it's there. And granted, we're in an era where like there's a lot of young people fly fishing, and there's a lot of people fishing for different species than native brook trout. But that's what you think. Like when you think of what's the movie with what's his face?
River runs through
A
it.
river runs through
Oh,
it.
yeah.
That
Brad
like
Pitt.
that like spiked this whole. The fly fishing industry was booming after that. But that's what people want to do: carry a wicker basket on their body, wear some leather shoes into the water, and throw expensive reels and rods and stuff around.
Toss some line.
Right. I don't want to fully eliminate it. Like I want you to have choice, but I want you to not have to think about it as hard as we've had to think about it so far.
You got to know that there's options.
There's
right?
options.
That's the biggest part of it.
You can buy the nice stuff, and you can buy the still nice stuff. We're the still nice stuff. That's
Still
where it
nice
needs to land.
stuff.
Still nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah. There's 2 reels under $200 that are my choices. You know what I mean? We don't have to go there. I'm not going to go there. Okay. We'll talk about the guy. Who's that?
It's Cat. We're almost done.
Yeah.
We haven't hit an hour yet.
Okay.
57.
All right. Enough on the reel. We
All
got
right,
you.
yeah, let's do one more thing I want to talk about really
Sure.
quick. So, we're obviously in production. I want to talk about our films.
Yeah.
We haven't made yet, but I think one of the things that we're probably the best at is probably making films. So I think we're going to be able to do a pretty good job bringing some cool content to people. But right now in the books, like we're going to film King's Week. I don't know what that's going to turn into. It's going to be very different than the things we usually film, right?
Totally.
That's the whole idea. It's hacked a little bit. Like we just need to just capture and see what comes. It's just a trip of buddies going up. But we do have a couple things in the book. So do you guys want to?
Yeah. Well, you set us up first. Set us up you said it's obviously we make film. Obviously we're in production, but we're not like, that's not obvious. I don't
It's
think.
not obvious, I guess.
Yeah. So our day job is
Yeah, right.
we work in video production. We're DPs and producers and editors, and we work for a house. I mean, our day job is making creative content.
Yep.
So a natural extension of what we love to do, probably our first passion, and combining that with fly fishing would be films.
Right. So from that has stemmed some ideas and some natural connections, honestly. But I definitely want Fly League to be like not a film house. I don't want it to be. I want it to be a place you can go to watch great fly fishing films
Sure.
and content. And when I say films, like I mean like movies to like YouTube content to whatever to podcast content like this. Wide range of content, but someone that's like a trusted source to put out good stuff. I think that's kind of the focus for me. But
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you said, this is one of the this is in our pocket. You know what I mean? It's like what can we bring to the table when it comes to introducing people to the sport or spreading like this idea of like weekly groups or monthly groups or whatever it has to look like for you. Just that encouragement, that incentive to be on the water and to really dig into the sport. It's like, well, we know how to make good videos. We know how to take cool photos. That's what we do. And so like to bring that aspect to it, it's a natural inclination, it's a natural direction. And so like Bakken was kind of talking about, like it's so natural to look and come up and think and dream and come up with these ideas and tell these stories. Mm-hmm. And so like, I don't know how much you want to get into those things, but we can break them down or give like a rundown if you want.
Give a little breakdown. Like what? Tell me, what's Wooly John?
Yeah, man, Wooly John. This is a film written by both Johnny and Bakken that tells the story of an old crotchety fly fisherman who's stubborn and whose passion is to throw a line. He loves to go out and catch fish, catch trout, catch bass. We'll see. Still
where we shoot it.
Still finalizing it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like he has to make a decision about priorities and where fishing falls in his life and balance and and just what it means to pursue a passion, but also love the people that are around you, and make sure that you're looking out for all those around you. And yeah, I don't want to spoil anything too much, but it's a really awesome premise. That would be an absolutely beautiful film. Just tons of opportunity for wonderful cinematography, and that's what we're excited about.
Can you take this too far?
Yeah, yeah, true.
Can you? I don't know. We gotta explore.
I think probably.
I feel like I already have in some ways. Researching reels.
Yeah. There's a trade-off. There's a stress there.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Right on. Do you want to talk about Willie John at all, John?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So obviously, I love the concept of the film. I think it was written beautifully. Just kidding.
Right.
It came out of some wind chill time with Bakken and I, and shout out to the painted trout. What the heck were we doing?
We were filming. We were on a production trip.
Yeah, we're on
a scout. Came back from a scout.
Yeah, yeah.
And we just like, hey, I bet maybe there's a fly shop close.
Oh, to the east side of the state.
Yeah, we looked it up and we pulled into the painted trout and walked into this cool basement fly shop. And there's cool guys in there. I mean,
Yeah, great spot. Anyway, so during that drive, we had some wind chill time, and I think Bach had a nugget of idea for a film, and we just, as we do, just start spitballing it back and forth, throwing it around, and making something out of it. And we started laughing at some of the stuff we were coming up with, and started appreciating some of the stuff we came up with, and decided that we should do that. You know, we do this with concepts for videos all the time, so. Just this realm was fly fishing, and then Bakken happened to know that there was a good outlet for that. There was a target that if we could make this film, we could maybe get it into some of these fly fishing circuits and things, and it became kind of a viable idea all of a sudden. Start saying, why not?
Right.
I remember y'all pulling up in the truck on the way back from that, and you hopped out. I was like, hey, I was a scout, how'd it go? And Bach's like, I think we just wrote a movie.
We wrote literally the whole damn movie in the truck.
And I was like, sweet, like let's hear it, like let's dig into it. So
yeah, I think it was only a full 8 days after, and there was a full script.
Dude, that's a
full 19 pages.
That speaks more to Bach than
does.
anything that I've ever heard in my life, man. Like this guy just locks in and dives, and is like one of the hardest working dudes. So to just come up with that idea, you're going to be hard off trying to find somebody who will turn that into a script in less than a year. You know what I mean?
Being crazy.
He's unstoppable. If it was waiting on me to make a script, I would have got a couple lines here, some of that. He came back, you're right, like days later with a script. And I was like, you are unstoppable, dude. Like he's asking me for iterations and more ideas. I'm like, dude, I don't even, how do you do this? You're doing more than me, it seems anyway. Like, how are you fitting this into your life? But he does, props to his family. And
I got this old brown leather chair in my living room. And generally, my wife's a teacher, and we got 2 little kids under 3, So come 8:30, like we're both about ready to sleep. But I usually take that time, like she falls asleep, and I'll take that time to be like, oh, let's write a movie. Let's like do this. I just try to do my best, even if I'm laying in bed. Like it's probably not good for me, but like I'll just hammer stuff out like that. So I appreciate when passion drives ideas, and since this like new Fly League thing popped up, it was just too easy. It was too easy to chase, and we stopped into the painted trout, and it just fuels. Like everything you do, like I tie flies in my garage late at night sometimes too, and that fuels the exact same thing. And that's where kind of Wooly John idea, like basing around this fly this old guy ties, came up. I came up with that idea, and I don't know, everything feeds the next thing.
yeah,
Like it's all just stoking the fire as long as you're chasing the right thing. And when you chase the right thing, it opens up. It always does. It's never just. If you're meant to walk away from it, you're probably going to walk away from it. And Wooly John slowed down a little bit because we're just busy. Like, we're trying to do so many things, but like we got a script in the bank.
Totally.
Like we can shoot that movie. If we find actors and locations, we can shoot it.
Absolutely,
we got to find the time.
yeah, it's there. And thanks to your work, I mean, you pushed it so far along that it's right there.
It's right
You
there.
know what I mean?
And I think Johnny was talking about it, but like the hopeful goal of getting a film into the fly fishing film tour that kind of changes the game. It was my kind of hope for it. Like it's a narrative movie. It was built out of, I grew up going up to a cabin up north with my dad and fishing walleyes, bobber fishing walleyes all the time. And we had 2 movies at that cabin, little family cabin. Sister Act 2, great movie, and Grumpy Old Men. And so when we started talking about this Woolly John idea, and it wasn't called Woolly John at the time, the character was stemmed out of Walter Matthau instantly. I was like, oh God, you know what the world needs is another grumpy old man.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my hope. I mean, it's dramatized a little bit more maybe than Grumpy Old Men, but like, I want people to laugh. I want people to be worried. I want people to like see themselves or see someone they know. Like, there's so many hopes for that film. And one of those hopes, though, is to bring a narrative film to the fly fishing world that people will enjoy. Like, I want to go to the fly fishing film tour. I want to get it in. These are my goals. Get it in the tour. Go to the tour, and I want people to watch a damn movie like that. Like a narrative film, like you're going to it's like eating popcorn.
Yep.
Yeah, dude.
And come away going like they felt something. They felt like it was good for the sport. Because those doc films that get in there are unbelievable. Like, people travel the world and find these fish that nobody knows about or nobody knows how to get them. It's so cool. I'm just trying to do something a little different.
Give them a different taste, a different flavor.
Yeah.
Well, we can't do that. We can do that.
Yeah.
Without
going too Hollywood or scaring people away from it. Like make it approachable and see someone in it. So I don't know. Woolly John's gonna be cool. I'm excited about it.
Love it.
Cool. Last thing we're gonna do really fast. Our film about Sir David Rumfeld. I might have said that wrong. TJ?
I think, yeah.
Tee that one up.
Okay, sure.
And we don't even know if we're doing this, but let's see.
Yeah, so something that you said that is absolutely my heart and drive in most things is when the doors just seem to open and come your way, and there's just coincidence after coincidence, if you'll use that term lightly, that pave the way and give these little permissions into the world that you're getting into. And with this situation, where we're talking about films already, we had Woolly John in the works. The partner company, well, not partner company, our neighboring company next door. Do I name drop? Or a guy that works next door is talking to us. His father-in-law, he drops his name, David Rumsfeld, and turns out the guy is crazy accomplished artist in the fly fishing world. He's got paintings, he's got art on boats, he's got, people know this guy everywhere, and he is our neighbor's son-in-law. Or our neighbor is his son-in-law
And local,
yeah. And so that spurs our curiosity, and so we want to talk to him. Who is this guy? Is there a story there? Is there somebody of this caliber? And it's another avenue into fly fishing for us to explore and be a part of and bring to the world. So Matt was immediately like, we're making a piece on this guy. So
yeah, dude, I think that's such another clear example of like our passions aligning, right? So we all have to have some sort of desire to make art and to do what we do, to be in production. And so it's like we can respect a talented artist just like most people can, but for us it might feel a little different. And so it's like, man, we love the art that you're making. We love that it's aligning with our passion for fly fishing. Like, let's talk. Let's see what this guy's story is. That there's got to be something there. Like this dude's obviously super gifted, and I'm sure he's had vision for this and is as driven as we are, you know. And so to hear that and express it in a different way, it's something worth looking into for us for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to figure out why he paints what he paints. Like, when do you see it? Where is it? Like what makes you feel like what are you feeling when you're painting one of these things? What's the feeling you're chasing? Are you just doing the same thing over and over again? Like, there's so many questions I have for that guy. So really interested to see where that goes. Yeah, what comes from it, but that'll be coming too. I got to learn how to say his name also.
It's got to be David Rumsfeld.
Well, no, because it's Rumfeld.
Rumsfeld, excuse me.
There's no S in there.
Oh man, I shouldn't even have tried it.
Rumveld.
Rumfeld. Okay,
how about we just ask him?
We'll just ask him.
Yeah, we'll just ask
State, spell, and pronounce your name for us.
Pronounce it again, please.
Yes, slowly.
And again, please.
Yeah, there you go. If you had to put the two parts together. Cool.
Yeah, so I think that's all I had on here.
Yeah.
But you guys, what's like any wrap up statements? Anything that just like
Tie
Fly
the-
League
tie the knot a
appreciation,
little bit.
whatever. Yeah, tie ball on the thing.
Yeah, so I just really appreciate the opportunity to be in this. I'm super excited about it. I think it's humbling to have something like Fly League that I think can really be such a landing place for so many of our adventures and lead to so many experiences in life, which is something that drives me personally. It's a beautiful sport. It's humbling to be a part of that. It's humbling to do with you guys, and I'm just excited to see where this goes.
Let's go.
Heck yeah. Yeah, for me, like this Fly League, I definitely feel like the younger brother, and I love it. It's like it's the absolute best. Like,
Makes me feel old, man.
no, man, just in terms of like, I don't know much about the sport. I'm like definitely like trying to bring the energy whenever I can, like that younger brother, but like still just cool enough to be in the crowd. You know what I mean? Like it's so fun and humbling in that way, because it's like I've got 2 teachers every time we go out. Hey, I don't know how to tie this knot. I don't know what's the best call for this color fly. I don't know necessarily where I should be throwing. And it's always just like, it's so fun that way. You know what I mean?
We don't either.
I don't know.
Yeah. But
Like, who are you asking? Not asking me.
that's like the part of it. You know what I mean? It's just the fact that you got those walls to bounce things off of. And then we all learn together a little bit, maybe at different paces, maybe in different quantities. But
Right.
for me, it's just like, it's a gift, man. Like to be able to go out with other dudes and do it regularly. Like it's so much more motivating than me just being like, I'll just go fish when I find a good time for myself. It's like, nah, I get to go fish with the boys today. Like, let's go rock it. you know?
Right.
Let it rip. You know.
Let it rip. Yeah. I'm right there, man. Fly League for me is like a good example of like making this thing accessible. You know, we could easily try to become way better at this before we started talking about it. Like none of us have been fishing for forever. None of us are pros. None of us has the nicest gear. We got an old rowboat that was ripped out of the mud. Homed mice, you know, like housed mice for years. Like there's such an easy part in your soul to be like, let me not show this to the world. Right? But I think Fly League is a good example of kind of, I don't know, like if we need to make a fool of ourselves in a way to make sure some other people go fish, like I think it's already kind of worth it.
Yeah, totally.
So, and we're obviously just going to get better. Like people can come along for the ride. There's no question there. It's going to get better.
Absolutely.
And maybe this will open some doors and we'll be able to do some really fun stuff. So, that's all I need to, that's where I'm at. Like there's nothing else I need to, I guess, speak on to close that up. I just think it's like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready for this Kings Week. I'm ready to figure out what reel I'm going to buy. I'm ready to, I don't know, just get better.
Cool, man.
Just get better. Awesome.
Fly League.
Fly League, baby.
Fly League.
Cool. Is
See
that
you
how you
guys
wrap
next
up
time.
a podcast? How do you close this thing?
The music comes up and under, we start just going.
Well, and part of it's like assuming we have an audience. So it's like, I think it's kind of nice. Like we don't really.
Yeah,
if
it's just us
if
talking.
you're watching this somewhere, like
You lucky.
yeah, good for you, man.
This is supposed to be in the vault.
You just watched us process through what we're trying to do,
What we want to do.
and if that leads to something, then awesome. And if not, thanks for watching. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like it's that kind of vibe.
Thanks for watching us try.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Sorry.
All right, let's close it up.
All right.